Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have a Toronto Raptors trade video. Now, Toronto right now, for the second straight season, their bench is dead last in scoring. Dead last in scoring. So, I don't anticipate the Toronto Raptors making a big time move, but I certainly see them try to get in the right direction as far as bench scoring goes. Now, today's video actually isn't going to really be about scoring. We're going to be talking about Daniel Theis, because here is a trade that was actually proposed by a Houston Rockets fan. But before we get into it, guys, if you enjoy it, hit the like button, hit that sub button. I post Raptors content 5 times a week. NBA content every day. We're about 55 subs away from 10,000. So every like, every comment, every new subscriber, thank you guys so much. So like I said, this trade was proposed actually by a Houston Rockets fan, and I'll give my opinion on it right away. If this trade was last season, I think the Toronto Raptors would probably hop in it, but right now, just kind of given the salary, given their future, I don't anticipate the Raptors making this move. And the trade literally is this: it's just a second round draft pick the Toronto Raptors given up to send to Houston, and the Houston Rockets are sending over Daniel Theis. So, you know, the issue with Daniel Theis is not necessarily the player. It is more so he's on a 4-year contract now. And with the Raptors just extending Kem Birch, they signed Gary Trent Jr. Like, I don't imagine this is a move Masai is looking for, where you're paying a non-buildable guy. Like, they're not going to build the team around Daniel Theis. They're building the team around Scotty Barnes, Siakam, Freddie, like OG. Those are who you're building it around. So I don't see them paying $36 million to bring him in. I just don't see that happening. What I do think that the Toronto Raptors need to do is I do think they need to make a trade. I think guys like Malachi Flynn, Delano Banton, they were kind of expecting almost like free lunches, and they're just not playing good this year. They're not playing good this year. And so Nick Nurse recently, with kind of the injuries that have been happening to Toronto once again, playing like a 6-man rotation. And when you're playing a 6-man rotation, that means your starters are creeping into like the 42-minute range, 43-minute range, 44-minute range. And what does that mean? Your guys are more susceptible to injury. I would not be surprised if one of the Raptor players were to go down for the rest of the season, just because how much they're playing. This can't happen. It can't happen. You cannot sustain a 6-man rotation for the entire season. I don't care how Delano Banton's playing. I don't care how Malachi Flynn's playing. These dudes need to play at least like 5 minutes a night. Yuta Watanabe, like, these guys need to play. You cannot run your starters for 44 minutes every single night. The good news is Nick Nurse knows this. You know, the good news is Nick Nurse knows that, and he isn't gonna do this all season. It's just because kind of what's been going on right now. Now, that 6-man in the rotation, Chris Boucher, he's real enticing. He's a real enticing player because he started this season horribly, like borderline terrible. The Raptors should trade this man, but what can they even get other than like a bag of Sun chips? I don't know. But then he picks it up. So he's getting back to his old ways. He's getting back to the ways like he was last season. So Chris Boucher is interesting because it's his last year of his contract. But the thought earlier in the season was he is playing so bad that he is not even going to be like eligible for a pay raise. That's how bad this man was playing. I still think Chris Boucher is kind of in that, he's kind of in that skill level right now where the Raptors aren't going to pay him long term right now, like a fat salary. What they'll probably do is they'll probably offer him a 1-year contract that's worth, you know, not a substantial amount of money, but certainly not like $1 million. So they'll probably give him a 1-year contract, see if he, you know, buys into it and bites, and you kind of go from there. My thing with Chris Boucher is he's a little inconsistent for his age. What is Chris, like 29 years old? He's a little inconsistent, and he might be their most valuable trade asset right now. You could 100% flip Chris Boucher for 2 good bench players. I mean, Svi Mihalik, like, I really was looking forward to him, but he's just not living up to it. Precious Achiuwa can only do so much. Ken Burch and Precious, one of them's hurt all the damn time. It's one or the other. And so that means one of them has to start, and then there's no one to come off of the bench, and then you'll get like that taste of like 2-3 games where both of them are healthy, and you're like, okay, this is kind of cool. But for the most part, I think this Raptors team needs to trade for like a guard off of the bench. Maybe like a shooting guard, maybe like a small forward. I don't have any off the top of my head that I think the Raptors would be all that interested in, because like I said, they're not going to break the bank. That's the last thing they're going to do is break the bank. So yeah, Daniel Theis' stats aren't that bad, but like I said, it's not a stat thing. Daniel Theis' defense is very, very solid, but just given kind of how Toronto spent this past offseason and who they decided to pay, I would imagine Daniel Theis is like, that would be worst case scenario. That would mean they have like literally no other options, and even in that situation, I don't think it would happen, because for me, what I see Toronto kind of doing is, you're hoping maybe Precious can kind of turn into a star, but in the meantime, Precious and Ken Burch, they're just kind of getting the job done. You're trying to develop them, you're trying to progress them, but I still imagine Toronto's looking for like a star, like a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, someone who can alter your franchise. And they'd have to give something up for that. Maybe it happens in free agency, you never know. That's why I don't think they're going to pay. And I know $36 million, $9 million a year is not bad whatsoever. But given the way the season's going right now, near 500, I just don't see him. But the thing is, a second round pick really is not that bad. I just don't think Masai wants to kind of be locked to Daniel Theis for 4 years. I know he's a tradable candidate. He's under the age of 30. But I don't know. I don't see this being a move Masai would do. Maybe I'm wrong. Raptors Nation, I'd love to hear from you guys. Comment down below if you guys would accept this trade, because it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. I just don't think, you're not even giving up a player. I think Toronto needs to focus on that bench scoring. You know, not bench defense. I think they need to focus on bench scoring. That's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit that sub button. And as always, drop a comment down below. Would you do this trade, second round pick for Daniel Theis? And I'll see you guys later.